Hello, I am going to guide you through a short tutorial on using the curriculum creating software from a company called Articulate. It is named Storyline 2, the 2 being the second edition. From here on out, it will just be referred to as Storyline. Using Storyline makes it easy to create any interactive e-learning you can imagine. The first thing you might notice is that it is designed to emulate the feel of other software interfaces you might have already used. This will make your project look and you feel like a pro, even if you're a beginner. You can make your workspace your own if you wish by moving the panels you use most to anywhere on your desktop or even a second monitor. No need to create a project from scratch unless you want to. You can jumpstart your slides with template designs by eLearning Pros and even style your content with customizable designs and color themes. Create more relatable courses by adding photographs or illustrated characters, expressions, and your unique style. Storyline makes even the most difficult of content easy to convey, understand, and make interactive and fun. This is the main page of the Storyline interface, and will almost always be where you begin when you open the program. Notice the layout. This panel is where you will open a new project, record a screen to add to your project, or import. Notice the import button and all the multiple formats you can import to your project. Below that are recent projects that you are working on, and next to that are some more great resources to turn to for a deeper understanding of some of the more advanced features of Storyline. For now, let's stick to opening a new project, and for this walkthrough, we will be making a basic lesson and quiz on something everyone can relate to, bicycling. And for the purposes of this video, I have acquired all materials beforehand. So, before we get any further into this, let me go through some of the parts of the interface. This part is the quick access bar, which you will use frequently to save your project and undo unwanted changes to your project. The next part is called the Storyline ribbon. This part is where all the menu systems lie. This will be used quite a bit in building your project. The next large area of the screen is called the Story View. It gives a broad overview of your current project. Last, this part on the right side of the screen is called the Properties panel. It houses the trigger and slide properties. More on that during the triggers section of the presentation. The very first thing, and in my opinion, the most important thing you can do with any project is to save it early and often. How you do that is simple. You either go to the File menu and click on it and then click on Save or Save As. Save As would be used for situations where you are saving in a different format or are saving the project under a different name or for backup purposes. The second way to save it is to press Control S at the same time. That is the same as going to File, Save, or you can press the icon on the quick bar. Any of those choices will get you to the Save As wizard, where you can change the name to whatever you want or save it to wherever you deem appropriate. I would suggest that you not change the file from the default format. Once that is done, you click the Save button and you're set. Remember, save early and often is the best policy. After saving, the next thing to do is to change the title on your first scene. To do that, you double click on the name. The default is Untitled Scene and change it to whatever you deem appropriate. To begin work on the first scene, you double click in the open area and it will open a new view for you to work on the individual scene. Something to remember is that this content can be added in whatever way suits your needs. This is only a guide to get you familiarized enough to be comfortable. The next thing that I like to do is select a design for my slides by clicking on the Design tab on the Storyline ribbon. As you can see, there are many to pick from, so pick something that you think fits with the content. And if you like the theme, but you want to change the colors, click on the Colors tab and select the new set of colors. I think I'll select this one. This is also where you can select the font that will be used throughout your project. Next, we'll add some text to the slide by going to the Insert tab, selecting Text Box, and drag and dropping to the size that you need. If you would like to change the size, you can change the font size here, as well as bold or underline as you see fit. Changing the size will also change the layout depending on what suits your needs. If you would like to add a picture, screenshot, shape, caption, or character, there underneath the Insert tab, simply click on what you would like to add, select the picture, and you can resize as necessary. Adjustments needed to be made to the picture can be done in the next panel over. Things like softening the edges or adding a border. Once we are satisfied with this scene, make sure you save. Then we can close it, and as you can see, we have the first scene in our story view. The next thing we want to do is make a new scene to add more content. If you click on Insert and go to New Slide, it's going to give you some options to insert a new slide. For now, all we will need is title only, and we'll add in our own content. This is where you would add quizzes, screen recordings, or anything else that you want to your project. Once we have our new slide made, you can change the name by double-clicking on the untitled slide default name, and then double-clicking on it to open it. Then you'll click anywhere in the title bar to add your title. The next thing we'll want to do is insert another text box that has biking facts, which I will do right now. Once you have that done, if you want to change any of the formatting or add in bullets, can be done in the Format tab on the ribbon. Okay, so now that the second slide is done, we want to add a new one that has a quiz on it based on the second slide. So as you can see, there's a couple of different options for the quizzes. Graded, which gives you everything from fill in the blanks to drag and drops. Survey, which is pick one, short answer essay. Free form, which again, text entry hotspot if you want to pick something on a picture that activates something. What we're going to go with is multiple choice for right now. It's going to ask you to enter the question, which for us will make it really easy. And then we can answer in our choices. You can select which one is the correct answer. Once you have that done, you can click on the slide view and it will show you what your slide looks like. And now we're going to add in our last slide, which will just thank the user for taking our quiz. In the next section of the video, we'll tie these scenes all together with triggers. On to triggers. Triggers are what make the slides go from one to the next, depending on what you tell it to do. To start with, let's open up our first slide and we'll go to Insert, a marker, and I would just like something simple. Select an arrow, we'll place an arrow. Now, what I would like to have happen is when a user clicks on this, it goes to the next slide. In order to do that, I click on Create a New Trigger, which brings up the trigger wizard, and you can select from these four options. The first one is Action, which will give you actions like show or hide layers, play media, stop media, movies, depending on what I'm looking for. Now, what I would like to do is go to the next slide or scene when the user clicks on my marker and then I hit OK. That's all there is to it. Now what we'll do is the same thing on the next scene. And if you want to add a title or description, when the user clicks on it, you double click and you can change the wording. And then we'll do the same thing. We'll add a trigger to jump to the next scene. And if you want, you can change to previous or next or any scene in any order. When the user clicks marker 1. Okay, so now that we've added our marker, we'll go to our third slide. This one's going to be a little different. We already have a quiz set up, and what we want to do is go to the next scene when the quiz is selected, which means that a state of one of these buttons is going to change. You can select is or is not. And it'll let you know what button. So we want this button selected. Then we hit OK to add that trigger. After you have completed your course, the first thing you want to do is what? And if you said save, you were correct. Great job. The next thing after that is something under the Publish tab called Preview. Now you can preview one slide, the scene, or the entire project. We want to preview our entire project before we publish it for anyone else to look at, to test it, to make sure that it's functioning okay. Now this is the preview. It's going to give you full functionality and show you what the user sees. So here's our first slide called the introduction. And if we click on the next, this should take us to the next slide. Here's our biking facts. If you remember making this, and there it says click to continue. When we change the heading, here is our quiz. Biking makes you, let's say, feel great. Thanks for your time. The last step in order for you to get this content to your clients or users is for you to publish it. Once you hit the publish button, it's going to ask you a series of questions based on where you want to send your information to. You have web, which will give you access to a website if you want to host it there. Articulate Online if you have an account there. LMS is going to be the most commonly used. That stands for Learning Management System. And depending on where your users are, if it's a school or something along those lines, they will have a learning management system that you then upload this course to. The title you can change, description, folder, output, depending on where you want to save it. Include HTML5 output is for devices that can't read Flash, like the iPad. There's also a mobile version and an Android version. Once you hit the publish button, it starts the process. Once the process is complete, you're going to see that it was published successfully. You can view your project right now, email it to someone, add to a file server, zip, or open the file from here. That concludes the lesson. Thanks for watching.